Hey guys, I'm Yama, and this is just a little segment where I cast some StarCraft 2 builds for you guys to critique and experiment with. Right now, I'm a Platinum level Protoss, and my goal here is to step up my game while providing some players just getting into StarCraft 2 with some fun new builds to try out. Today, we're going to take a look at a unique PvT build that's kind of like a Four-Gate, but with a twist. Now, let me be honest, I'm sure other Protossers feel me on this, but PvT is easily my worst matchup. Terran just has so many options when it comes to the early game. It's all a Protoss player can do to just hang on until you can crawl out of that corner that Terran forces you into early on. This build focuses on taking that Terran flexibility and using them against them, using only a little bit of extra gas and some subtle misguidance. Let's go ahead and get started. Alright, what we're going to do here is we're going to start by looking at the Terran player, and we're going to see, what he sees. Or she, I guess, technically, because I guess women do play StarCraft, they give me XP. But, what we're going to do is we're just going to, go through the Terran's point of view, see what he does, see what he sees, and, just get the gist of the build before we go through it again and actually see what the Protoss does in this build. Alright, so, skip ahead. Watching the AI is really boring. By the way, I always do these on AI players just to show you, the build in its purest form, and then later on I'll upload, a video of this in ladder. Just, assuming I can get it off on somebody in ladder, because some of my builds are just crazy, and I doubt that I could ever pull them off on anyone, but this is not one of those. This is actually a valid build. But, so far we've seen no scouting from the Terran player, which is kind of weird. I think the AI would scout by now, but alright, here's the little Protoss, this little pesky probe coming in, seeing this little refinery. And, see some quick Marines coming out. Let's go ahead and speed forward a little bit. I know they scout at some point. Am I missing it? Am I just not seeing the scouting SCV? I mean, the AI always scouts. Or maybe I'm just a crazy one and it's completely standard to scout at, the 6-minute mark. Still waiting on this scouting SCV to come out. Let's speed ahead a little bit more. By the way, the AI difficulty is on hard. I always do it on hard just because they don't get any, mineral mining, cheats. Okay, so I guess they didn't scout at all, which, I guess I can forgive them for on this map since, it's Zonaga Caverns. Where else am I going to be? So they're coming in, they're attacking. Usually a push like this is pretty standard, but, against any decent Protoss, they're going to have something like this to block it off. Or, force a field the ramp. I didn't even get a chance to force it my ramp this time, since, they didn't even bother coming through. Just waltzing past my little probe here. It's good to know they didn't hurt him. He's a good guy. And so they're going to come back, just going to keep building units. Looks like they're going to start building tanks, which is a pretty good, way to go against Protoss, I guess. Tanks are always good. So let's skip ahead a little bit, see what happens. Oh, it looks like they're finally scouting.
Complete.
Yep, they scouted that I don't have an expansion, and I guess he was content with that. They've seen this one pylon so far, so hopefully we'll get some better scouting in. May have to start,
Upgrade complete.
doing these builds on a better AI or against a friend. Fortunately, I don't have friends, so
Add-on complete.
at least not ones that are any good at StarCraft. Okay, yeah, I'm not here. Still building shit. Go ahead and speed up a little bit. Here we go. Here we see a little engagement. And pretend you don't see this little bar, because you're not supposed to be able to see that from the Terran's point of view, but, what you do is you see a little, force of Stalkers, Sentries, Colossus coming in, poking in, not liking what they see apparently, and running out. And so, a normal player at this point would be like, oh shit, probably going Colossi, and a normal player would, have scouted by now, and would have seen what this little guy is about to see. Assuming he's not an idiot. What is wrong with you? Come on. Hurry up and scout the base. Jesus. It's just not occurring to me how terrible of a replay this is. Come on. You can do it. You got it. You can do it. You can do it. Alright, now he's finally fucking scouting. And what he's gonna see this gateway, Cybernetics Core. Nothing back here. Gateway, Robo. And, he's also going to see this hidden gateway back here. And I'm already attacking since he scouted so late, but I mean, the normal reaction to seeing a Colossus and seeing a Robo would be to start building the Vikings or something. I mean, instead they opted for, you know, Ghost Academy, which I guess is, I mean, I guess Ghosts are good against Colossi. Ghosts are good against Protoss in general, so I can see where they're going with that. And here I come in with now 3 Colossi at the 11.5 minute mark. I'd like to think that 3 Colossi at the, you know, close to 12 minute mark is doable. Maybe I'd be safer if I just had 2, but I mean, if you have energy for 3, why not? And I come in, and basically one of 2 things happens here. Either A, you're playing against, you know, a Terran player who either, you know, builds turrets for detection, or, you know, just knows that you hallucinated the Colossi. And you're playing against a smart Terran player who saw through this little trick. Or, you know, you're playing against a player who, you know, fell for the trick and legitimately thought you had 3 Colossi at this point and starts to focus them down. Or build Vikings to counter them. Now, in scenario 2, obviously, you know, that works in your favor, because, you know, the Vikings against the Stalkers are pretty much useless, and the Colossi are just there to soak up damage, and so you're pretty much going to have an extreme edge over the opponent. I mean, this is way more Stalkers than you should have if you're going 3-gate Robo, and that should be more than enough to just clean up whatever units they have. Or, in scenario 1, if the Terran player saw through this little trick, they're going to, you know, not focus fire the Colossi, and probably have detection, and so they're not going to be able to soak up any damage. But they still come in handy. Don't count them out just because, you know, they've been seen through. The fact that they're not going to get attacked because they've been detected actually works to your advantage a little bit, because since these Colossi are actually technically, you know, aerial units-ish, they can spot this high ground right here. And a lot of times with, you know, live non-brain-dead Terran players, they'll have this little, like, wall-off going right here. And typically if you were to just have these Stalkers and Sentries, you would not be able to see up the ramp to attack, you know, all the units behind it trying to kill your ass. But with these Colossi, you can see up the ramp, get that vision, and unlike with an Observer, the units will opt not to attack these Colossi because they're hallucinated, and so they'll just continue to spot that high ground while your Stalkers just shoot up. And I feel like that's where, you know, the crucial point of this build lies. These little hallucinated Colossi. They're multi-purpose Colossi. And, you know, let's just watch this through to the end, I guess. Here I go. This time they're focusing down the Colossi. You can see them, you know, getting killed right here. We've got a little Guardian Shield going. A lot of times you won't have enough energy for a Guardian Shield, but I did in this case. So I'm just gonna, you know, run in, do some killing. And they die. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to go back, and now we are going to watch this from the Protoss point of view. I'll go through it a lot faster so you guys don't have to. Well, for the beginning parts I'll, you know, elaborate a little bit. But so, what you want to do here is you always want to get that Cybernetics core out as fast as possible versus Terran. Like, no matter what you're doing. You never open Zealots versus Terran. If you do, then please teach me how you win against Terran, because I never win against Terran opening up with a Zealot. So what I do, what you have to do to get this Cybernetics core out extra fast, is you have to sacrifice that 10th probe and just go straight pylon gateway. And don't build that 10th probe until after you've got this gateway down. And then you chrono boost out about 4 probes. You know, get your assimilator down, get your cybernetics down. As soon as this finishes. See how I got that down as soon as this finished? This is like as fast as you can get a cybernetics core down, I'm pretty sure. If not, do tell me how you get your cybernetics down faster than that. But alright, let's speed through a little bit. The rest is pretty standard. You know, you get your gateway out. No expansions. I'm not very good at expanding versus Terran. I mean, you're supposed to play defensively, so expanding really is not easy to do. Unless you're like a super high-level Protoss player. Now, what I'm going to elaborate on here is, you see down here, I've already scouted, and I've scouted this one assimilator. Now, you always want to go down, as soon as you're done building this gateway, or even actually, yeah, as soon as you're done building this pylon, like the probe that builds your first pylon, send it out into their base and start scouting. You want to scout at least, you know, twice, like scout into like let's say the 3-minute mark, and scout these two assimilators. If nothing else, just these two, not the simulators, these two gas geysers. Now, what you're going to do is going to depend solely upon how many harvesters you see on these two gas geysers. If you see just one refinery, that's indicative that you're probably going to see some kind of like a, marine marauder, like early push. Now, if you see no gas geysers, with Terran, that's actually very indicative of some kind of cheese. Look for, some sort of like hidden proxy command center somewhere on the map, or maybe like proxy racks. If you don't see any here, there's probably going to be some proxy racks like here or something. And if you see two gas geysers, which is often the case a lot of the time, if they get their two gas geysers simultaneously, that could mean a lot of things. It could mean, cloak banshees, it could mean hellions, it could mean reapers, it could mean, hellion drops, which have become less popular, but still, people still do that. And so, basically, the only difference that you're going to have to make with this build is if you see no gas, then, open up with one sentry to, in case you get cheesed, and scout around the map for proxies, and just, build stalkers. And if you see no gas, then, the game should be easy. Just, build a lot of stalkers and go attack and kill them. If you see this one gas, you're going to do what I did here and start out with, these two sentries. Since they can't really, it's not practical to try and go Reaper off of just one gas guys, then, you're not going to have to worry about that. You're not going to need that early stalker out to, like, fend off the Reaper or fend off the Hellion. And if you see two gas geysers, then, you're going to want to open up with a stalker, and then your sentry, and then another stalker, and then another sentry. So let's keep going here. I viewed just the one gas geyser, so I built two sentries first. I'm going to start building stalkers here, get my other two gateways. Going to build a... Alright, next I'm going to build a robotics facility. Right there. Now, I want you to keep in mind, I'm not actually going to build anything out of this robotics facility unless I absolutely have to. If I have to, if I figure out that somehow, they ended up transitioning into cloak banshees and I need an observer, well then bam, I have a robotics facility just in case I need an observer. But I'm not actually going to make an observer unless I have to. What I'm going to want to save my gas for is A, as soon as this finishes... Oh. As soon as this finishes, I should hit that H key any day now. Any day now. There we go. Finally. Alright, that was a little slow on the uptake, but as soon as Warp Gate finishes, and as soon as you have enough gas, you should start to research hallucination. And, continue to crank out more stalkers, and, well, two sentries is enough, unless one of them dies, obviously, but... since two stalkers is as much, two sentries is as much as you need, and just keep cranking up those stalkers. And what I did was I built a little pylon here, and I hid my little gateway back here in the corner. Now, this, I guess you could call it a Four-Gate robo, but what it is, it's really just a deceptive Four-Gate. This robo is just here to deceive the opponent, and, serve as, backup observer backup detection if I ever need it. What it's really here for is to, when the enemy comes and scouts this little robotics facility, they're thinking that I'm going 3-gate robo, whereas really I'm going 4-gate. It's a pretty lame trick, but it's not all there is to it. Let's keep going here. Now, once Hallucinate finishes, if you're not slow like me, it should be somewhere around the, 8 to 9 minute mark. Which I guess I did. You research one Colossus, and let me pause it right here. Alright, let's go back to normal speed. Alright, you're going to want to hallucinate just one Colossus. And then, see if the opponent has either of these watchtowers, then, or any watchtower on the map, I guess. If the opponent has any watchtower, then all you have to do is just march in front of him, make sure he gets in vision, and kill him off. And then bam, he sees your Colossus, mission done, go home. In this case, I had to be a little bit more assertive, and I had to rush all the way into his base, pretend that I was poking in for an attack, and then retreating. So that's exactly what I did. I came in, I attacked, and I went home. Made sure that Colossus got at least one shot off. Actually, exactly one shot would be perfect. Now the idea here is to, reveal your hand, reveal this robotics facility, reveal a Colossus to the opponent, get them thinking, get into their head, make them think that you're going, 3-gate robo with Colossi. And, after you do that, I want you to just go back home, chill out for a little bit, give them time to react. This is what you're doing right now. You're giving the opponent time to react to what you just showed them. And so, I mean, you saw what they were doing here, but, I mean, in usual cases, if it worked, you'll notice they'll start to get Vikings. Like, usually you'll see maybe like 2, 3 Vikings. Just, a good player won't, like, overproduce. And then, just do like 2 more warp-ins, and this is important too. Here, you see how you built this little proxy pylon? That helps oh so much when you're attacking a Terran player. I mean, when you're attacking anyone in general, just please, whenever you're four-gating, build this proxy pylon. Don't put it like right here, or like in their base, or like off here for some reason. Like, just put it somewhere where it's like, not too conspicuous, not too far, not too close. And, just, it's a good place to just warp in extra stalkers, just to like reinforce as the battle's going on. I can't tell you how many times this has saved me. I was going to lose an engagement, and then I warped in 4 more stalkers here, and it just saved me.
Shadows.
But so, you're going to want to make sure that you're not seeing when you warp these in, and then just attack. Now, I warped in 3 Colossi because I had the energy for it, but, I mean, what you want to do is just look at the timer, and if you think it's feasible to have 3 Colossi at this point in the game, go ahead and warp in 3. If it's a little earlier than this, and then, you should probably only warp in 2. If you warp in too many Colossi, the opponent, like, if you come into this door with just like, 11 Colossi or something like that, they're going to be like, well, those are obviously fake, like, even if they don't have detection. Like, it's physically impossible to get that many Colossi early on in the game. Or at least this early. And so just get like a modest number, as many as you think, would be reasonable for somebody who's going 3-gate robo and just pushing out those Colossi. And, again, like I mentioned earlier, either they're going to fall for it and focus down the Colossi, or they're going to not fall for it, and your Colossi are going to spot the high ground for you. It's pretty much just, a 4-gate minus 5-ish stalkers. Yeah, you pretty much have like 5 fewer stalkers than you would if you were going a pure 4-gate without this robo, and without hallucinate. But, spotting the high ground makes a 4-gate really, really work a lot better. And you could just get an observer for that, but, hell, we have the robo facility anyway. And so, I mean, really, this is pretty much just like a 4-gate, except, you add this little element of, trickery to it. Anyways, this was my build. And, just, leave comments in the comments section below, just, telling me, what you like about it, what you don't like about it. Probably more of the latter, since you guys are all trolls. But you know what, I don't mind. I take harsh criticism with a smile on my face. And, if you want any more details as to this build, like, if you have any suggestions on how to improve it, just feel free to just comment below. I'll be back later next week with a PvZ build, and so look forward to that. And, yeah, I guess I'll see you guys next time.